Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Mnuchin is back in town, and Larry Kudlow says that time is running out. At the same time, stocks are dropping in reaction to the lack of stimulus, and we are now 11 days from the election with only 6 working days between now and the election. Mnuchin, in his first day back, has officially reiterated the administration's position that they will support a $1.9 trillion stimulus bill. However, Republicans and Mnuchin are upset that Democrats are, quote, dug in on a series of key issues. These issues include stimulus checks to those with ITIN numbers, aka undocumented workers, $600 per week in unemployment instead of $400, child tax credits rather than an extra $500 stimulus check to child dependents. Democrats want the child tax credits worth potentially as much as $5,000 to $7,000. Democrats want over $200 billion for schools, Republicans want half that, and Democrats want $417 billion for state and local government funding. Right now, Republicans are up to $300 billion. Republicans continue to get closer and closer to what it is that Democrats are seeking, and Democrats are not moving down. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany uses this as an example to say that Democrats are just not serious about getting a bill done. This also comes at the same time as we are approaching the end of our second 48-hour deadline. On Wednesday, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows told us that we are entering a new phase of negotiations where committee members are hashing out the stimulus details in writing and that this is good and we should have answers within 48 hours. Well, folks, those 48 hours are up today, and we still don't have the verbiage. At least that's what Nancy Pelosi stated this morning. She is waiting on her committee chair people to provide an update. And the update continues to be that we are working on an update. It is extremely frustrating and definitely makes me want to make sure my life insurance is still active and that I get my 3 free stocks with Webull, which that offer does expire at the end of the month, getting 3 free stocks now with Webull. Remember the time frame, folks. We need a verbal overarching deal, and then we need the proper verbiage. Right now, we're kind of between 1 and 2. We don't officially have an overarching deal, but Republicans do say that they'll make the top line number of $2.2 trillion work if we get manufacturing credits to bring jobs back to America. Then, once we strike a deal, we get 1 and 2 done with. Well, then we need the Congressional Budget Office to get to work to analyze the entire bill, tell us how much it's going to cost, the Legislative Council to tell us if it's actually written in a legal way. That's going to take 2 to 3 days. And then at that point, the bill can be amended between the House and the Senate as is needed to make any changes. And then they can actually vote to pass a bill. With 11 days to the election and only 6 working days left between now and then, it is starting to seem unlikely. And folks, it is quite possible that I might be shaving my head because after all, we made a deal that if we do not get a deal by election day, my hair goes bye-bye. Now, let's go ahead and jump on over to Larry Kudlow to see what's going on with Larry Kudlow. Do keep in mind that the stimulus coupon code does expire on the 25th, which is just in a couple days for the amazing programs down below, and you could still email me to get a bundle up coupon. Let's go ahead and see what Larry Kudlow has to say.
Joining me right now to talk more about that is the National Economic Council Director, Larry Kudlow. Larry, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Maria.
Let me ask you first about stimulus, because what President Trump just mentioned is one of the issues at hand and at debate, whether or not we're going to see more money go to some of these cities that are struggling and local economies. House Speaker Pelosi said that the two sides are, quote, close to a deal yesterday, but lots of hangups over the state and local funding up in the air, as well as the liability protection. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get a deal before Election Day?
Quick reminder on liability protections, we have a deal on liability verbiage and we have a deal on OSHA protections for workers, but we do not yet have a deal on consumer protections. So you kind of have these 3 parts of liability protections.
Well, I don't want to predict, but I will say a couple things. There are still significant policy differences between the two sides. So we bridged some gaps. We're probably closer than we were a week or 2 back. But still major policy difference. One of them you mentioned, state and local government spending. The president said time and again, and I think you referred to it last night in the terrific debate performance, that he's not going to bail out poorly managed cities, states, and their pension funds. That's not part of this. That has nothing to do with COVID, has nothing to do with getting the economy moving. So that's a powerful point. There are other issues between us. Look, I will say on the positive side, the committee chairman in the House and Senate, Republican chairs in the Senate, Democratic chairs in the House, are talking on the relevant committees, Maria. So you've got that. That's a big plus. Sort of what they call the
That's been happening for a couple days now, so not so excited here.
corners, the 2 majority and 2 minority leaders. There is that. There's certainly I mean, my view has always been, and I think Secretary Mnuchin and the President agree with this, we want to have certain targeted assistance areas. We have from day one. We continue to have that. Okay, PPP loans to the small businesses, additional unemployment assistance. There's still too much hardship, although the economy is coming back like gangbusters. We need to help the airlines. We need to help the schools directly on COVID responses and so forth. Those are important targeted areas. There's no reason why we have to have this humongous bill which covers so much ground other than the economy and COVID. In other words, there's an ideological and political debate agenda on the other side. Okay, yeah. I respect their agenda, Maria, but what I don't respect is why do we have to jam it through now?
Okay, so not too much here from Larry Kudlow, other than Larry Kudlow saying, hey, we're still doing the same thing that we've been doing. Basically, we've got no update. Why do we have to do it now? Come on, he's just taking the Republican position here that obviously Republicans are supporting doing a smaller bill or standalone bills on just the necessities. That's not really giving us any insights here. It's just more sort of pandering to, well, this is the Republican position versus the Democrat position. On COVID, the therapeutic remdesivir has been approved by the FDA. This is despite the fact that a World Health Organization study found it to be ineffective. At the same time, cases are up substantially to 75,064 and deaths are up to 828. Both of these are up on a 14-day trend line. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.